4 ways to play the Flam Tap. Normal, in 5, 2 rights and 3 lefts. And then 9, this always comes back to the right hand. You've got right, right, left, left, right, right, and then 3 lefts. How you doing, folks? Jack here from iCanPlayDrums.com. What we're going to check out today is some odd numbered groupings of the Flam Tap. When we think of the Flam Tap rudiment, it's typically written in either 2s or 4s, like 1/8 notes or 1/16ths, quavers or semiquavers. And the typical way that it's played and written is a right flam as an accent. So you've got that separation of stick height, and the left stick is the grace note, and that's lower. Then you have a soft right, and then a left flam, and then a left. All right, so it's written like that, and normally that's how it's played. Now, the Flam Tap is a really smart rudiment in that if you ever need to play that sequence where you have a flam and then a soft note, it's probably the best way of playing it. And what you'll realise, what I've found, especially when I teach that rhythm, especially to new drummers, is that they'll often favour their strong hands. So they might be good at playing right flams, and so they go for that every time, and then do a left, and then they're back to the right flam again. Now, that's not too much of a big deal when it's slow, but when you try and speed that up, you start to realise that the left hand is actually doing twice as much work as the right hand, because not only is it doing the in-between note after the flam, but it's playing the grace note of the flam as well. So look at how much work my left hand has to do compared to my right hand when I speed it up. And depending on how fast your left hand is, that's the ultimate speed that you'll be able to play it at. But when you even up the workload, when you go right flam right and then a left flam left, which is what the Flam Tap is, you can get faster. All right. But we're not going to cover that today. We're going to cover something a little bit more advanced. In this lesson, we're going to cover learning to play and phrase the Flam Tap in 5's. Be that in 16ths or triplets or whatever rhythm you like, but the sticking sequence itself will be a pattern of 5 that repeats. And then in the next lesson, in the next video, we're going to check out how to do it in both 7 and 9. All right, so what we're going to do to turn the pattern of 4 into 5 is we're simply going to add another soft left at the very end of the sequence. So we have the right flam right, then the left flam left, and then another left. And that's all it is, a right flam, then a right, and then a left flam and 2 lefts. So what we're going to do to begin with is we're going to put all of the right-hand notes just on different toms, and we're going to keep all the left-hand notes on the snare just to get used to feeling what that feels like to move and reorchestrate the pattern around a drum kit. All right, it's one thing to be able to play it on a snare drum where you're hitting the same surface each time and it feels the same for both sticks, but as soon as you move onto the toms, they feel completely different. They don't have as much rebound, as much bounce as a snare drum, so you have to work a bit harder. I find when I play, especially if I'm playing 2s or 3s with one hand, which of course we're now doing with 2s, that I've got to use a little bit more wrist than I would if I was playing on the snare, simply because I'm not getting as much rebound, so I've got to produce more of the stroke myself because the drum is not helping me much. All right, so just get used to it maybe on the first tom to begin with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then move down here. Okay, now what we've got to be able to do is play it in an actual rhythm. Now, you could play it as quintuplets, so if you played repetitively as 5 notes evenly spaced in one beat, that would be quintuplets. So that would be like this. That's certainly a valid way of doing it, but possibly more often you're going to be wanting to play it like in more regular and common subdivisions like 16th notes and triplets and 8th notes and things like that. And we're going to check out how to play it in 16th notes. Before we can get going with the sticking, we have to understand how to count repetitive patterns of 5 over the top of 16th notes before we even look at putting flams and other things in there. So there's a couple of different ways that we can think about it. We can either assume that we are in 5/4 time, and that means that after a certain number of cycles through, we'll land exactly on beat 1 every 5 beats, okay? Irrespective of what time signature you play it in, and I'll show you how to do it in 4/4 as well, we need to understand the spacing of the 5 notes. So the counting is this. We're going to subdivide 16th notes, and we'll stick with 5/4 time to start with, and that means we're going like this. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a 1, okay? And then the accents fall every 5th 16th. So that would be 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a 1. All right? 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5E and a 1. That's what we have to understand how to count before we can even play this pattern. Now that we've got that going, and that might take you some time to get your head around, that's fine, but once you get that going, you can start to think about putting this in place. You might find that launching into the 5 with the Flam Tap is too hard to start with. You might want to start even just with single strokes and get used to playing anything with that 5 reference. So you might want to do something like this. 1, E, and A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. All right. Then we're going to put that sticking in, starting really slow. Remember, the sticking is right flam right, left flam 2 lefts. And that sounds like this. 4E and a 5E and a. So you can do it in 5/4 like that, or you could do it in 4/4, and that just means that by the time you get back to the right hand landing on a beat, you're going to be 5 beats later, which puts you on beat 2 of bar 2. What we probably want to do though is check out ways that you can play it as a fill within just 1 bar of 4/4. So if this is the pulse, you might want to do something like that where you end on beat 4. So that was... All right, so I got 2 cycles of it out, and then I just did a regular Flam Tap and stopped on the left flam on beat 4. Okay, you might want to reorchestrate that around the kit. So there you go, that's a way of playing Flam Taps in 5s, right flam right, left flam, then 2 lefts, playing it within 16th notes. In the next lesson, we're going to check out how to play 7s and 9s. We'll see you soon.